I touched on this topic briefly in a previous video, but I want to get into it. I think society in general, so us, need to do a better job of instilling hope in the upcoming generations. I see a lot of stuff where, and it's very cliche, the older generation is like, man, these younger kids, these group of people, so spoiled, there's no work ethic, yada, yada, yada. And it is a very reoccurring thing. Like, this has happened for hundreds of years. This is not a new thing. Every generation complains about the previous generation. So it's not a new thing. And it probably will continue until the end of time. But it's one of those things that I believe is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you tell younger people all the time that they or their generation doesn't work hard or they're disrespectful or all this stuff, you're almost incentivizing them to keep doing that. Like, oh, everyone already believes I'm a piece of shit, so what's the point in doing anything different? Now, is that the right mindset to have for the younger group? No, but it is the common occurrence. You know, it's the same thing. I feel like I've seen this in a movie or something where it's like, if everyone believes you're a criminal, but you're not, what is the point of trying to persuade people otherwise? When, like, you can't get a job because people think you're a criminal, you can't have like a social life because people think you're a piece of crap, like those kinds of things. And to me, that's what has become of our stereotyping of the generations. Yes, there are common traits that each generation mostly shares, but everyone can be a little different from, their own group. For example, I believe I'm Gen Z, I think, or I'm like the very end of millennials, but I'm pretty sure Gen Z. And, a lot of stuff that Gen Z people, quote, know, I don't relate to at all. And there's a lot of stuff that I know about or have memories of that is way older in its like origination than I should know of. I feel like I said that in the most roundabout way possible. I'll give an example. The like AOL dial-up internet sound? I've known that sound my whole life, and maybe it's because I'm the youngest of 8 kids, so that was like an older generation's thing. But it's something that when it comes up, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and I'll ask someone who's roughly my age, I'm like, oh, do you remember that? And they're like, no, like, how old are you? Again, getting a little off topic, but what the baseline of what I'm trying to say is we can't just group people into these categories just because of how old they are or how old we think they are, There's a lot of people that will surprise you. And in general, we got to stop bringing down the upcoming generations, I think the newest one coming up is like Gen Alpha or something. Like, I shouldn't crap on them either. It's not their fault they are growing up in this era. That has nothing to do with them. It's not their fault that their parents gave them iPads at 1-2 years old and now their attention span is dog crap. Like, that's not their fault. That's their parents' fault. That's the previous generation's fault, And I think in general, like, if you're an adult, if you're 18 or older, you got to start realizing, like, it's up to you to do something about society, frankly, And I know there's only so much each person can do. Trust me, I'm aware. I'm not some person who's like, oh my gosh, if we all band together, we can do everything. There's limits to the potential for like a utopia, but we got to stop viewing the future as like so dystopian and so sad and pathetic and like, oh my gosh, AI is going to take over and the world's going to go to crap. Well, if we keep having that opinion and we keep having that outlook, yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen because we basically willed it. I don't think that just because you say something or believe something that it's necessarily going to happen. But if we have such a negative view on life and we have such a negative view on the next generation and the next generation and so forth, where's the optimism, dude? Like, where's the hope? There is none in that society. And we got to stop being a part of it, man. Of course, there's things that I see with younger people and older people that I'm like, dang, like, and I'll say, I'll be honest, I'm sometimes a hypocrite. You know, I'll be like, man, that generation sucks. Hey, I got to do better about it too. You know, every generation has some similarities, and some of them, in my opinion, are worse than others. But each generation is its own group of people, you know, and each person can be different from their group. You know, it's not like everyone who's a boomer is a piece of crap. You know, that's not true. Like, I don't want my son to grow up in a society where people bash him because of his generation, you know, and I want to instill hope in him at a young age. You know, I want him to think and believe that he can do anything he sets his mind to and works hard for, you know, and I think that's what every good parent should do. You know, my son's not even a year old yet. I wish more people did that and do that with their kids, you know, at a really young age, where it's like, hey, you can do anything you set your mind to. You can be great. And it's hard work to be a good parent, but it's really worth it, in my opinion. And I'm not saying I'm a great parent, but I'm trying to be. And I think that's what everyone needs to do, regardless of if you have kids or if you don't. You know, don't just shit on the next group. Don't just shit on younger kids and act like they're all pieces of crap because you had one bad interaction with someone. You know, and the same thing with older generations. We can't just sit here and crap on each other and then expect society to fix itself, because we're part of the problem if that's all we do. We got to be a little more optimistic, a little more hopeful, I think. And I believe we have to instill that hope and desire for greatness at a really young age, because if not, you know, when does it get entrenched in your mind? That's all I got to say on the matter. I know this was a little ranty, probably got a little off topic. I do apologize for not having the clearest of thoughts here. But I just want to get that out there and have people start thinking about it. You know, even if, like I said, you don't have kids, dwell on this and try to be optimistic for the next group, for the next generation, for your kids, if you have any. I'll leave it at that. I hope you guys liked the video. If you do like it, leave a like. If you disliked it, dislike it, but let me know what I can do to improve in the future. Subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, we'll see you later. Take it easy.